Welcome to GESARA for Dummies. It is May 27, 2025. Let's look at today's news from Professor William Liebenberg, prepared by Martin Stein. Please like, share and subscribe. Join our Telegram group in the comments below. Thank you. Let's go. The GESARA Law. Q military intelligence, it's going to be biblical. Texas lawmakers have passed a bill requiring the Ten Commandments to be displayed in public school classrooms, and it now heads to the governor's desk. The Ten Commandments is the foundation of every well-governed society. In South Africa, we the people are going after the cabal bankers. 60 billion rand headache for biggest banks in South Africa. Hundreds of South Africans are waiting for the outcome of a 60 billion rand class lawsuit against South Africa's major banks, alleging that they unlawfully repossessed their homes and resold them for well below market value. This lawsuit, which advocate Douglas J. Shaw heads up, is seeking to help individuals who have lost their homes to banks, such as Absa, Standard Bank, First Rand, and Nedbank. This effort has been ongoing for years. In 2017-18, Shaw achieved a major legal victory, when banks were required to provide a reserve price when they sold someone's house. Before then, the banks sold houses at sheriff auctions without a reserve price. This led to substantial losses, and the owners still owed large sums to the bank after the auction. Shaw said, banks are still selling people's houses for 50% to 70% of their value, on many occasions. Banks then come after the defaulter for the balance on the bond. President Trump sent warning shots out when he exposed South Africa's Marxist government and political parties that enslaves the people by showing videos to the entire world. Julius Malema, radical left-wing, responded to President Trump by saying, "Shoot to kill, shoot to kill the boer, the farmer." Julius Malema, today, as he says he won't be intimidated by Trump or America. Let's watch.
Child, where were you when I'm sitting? Where were you when I'm dreaming? So for sketchy, emoyen. So for sketchy, etati, kichi, kichima, kichi, kichima. Zipram Konto Alliance. Zipram Konto Alliance. Bongela Band, Hibagiti. Bongela Band, Hibagiti. Silta Tile, Hilagiti. Silta Tile, Hilagiti. Shoot to kill, Kilama. Shoot to kill, Nyamasa. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. I repeat, kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Mother.
EFF leader Malema is openly challenging President Trump and America by saying, "I'll never be intimidated by Donald Trump or America." He wants a White House invite to confront Trump with facts. Farmers are not white. Let's watch.
Comrades, we must defend our country against imperialism. The only organization that is hated by imperialists is the EFF. I will never be intimidated by America. I will never be intimidated by Donald Trump. They were speaking about me in that meeting at White House. If they were not gossiping about me, they should have called me into that meeting. I would have answered everything that Donald Trump wanted from us. But ya transport ba ya ko America ba yo bua ka nna sleghe. If they are not scared of me, call me into that meeting. That nonsense that Trump did in America, he will never do that nonsense in my presence, because I will confront him here and there with the facts. Ramaphosa could not present the facts in front of Donald Trump. You've got a coward president. He left here, Ariana, he won't be bullied. When he arrived there, he was shaking. Atatazela, achaba Donald Trump, Another president scared of another president. Donald Trump said to him, when you say farmers, you mean white people. He kept quiet. Farmers do not mean white people. They are black farmers. They are white farmers. Ramaphosa is a farmer himself. He should have said to Donald Trump, no, farmers are not white. I'm a farmer myself. I am not white. Why didn't he present that simple fact before Donald Trump? Why didn't he say, there are so many people killed in South Africa, and majority of them are blacks. There is no white genocide in South Africa. Bammonchatsila with crosses, he opens his eyes in shock. I know South Africa with my eyes closed. He's unable to tell Donald Trump that is not a picture of South Africa. This picture does not belong to us. We don't have mass graves of white people in South Africa. Mula was there. Kumbuzo was even worse. So why should we allow that?
Should Trump and Melema meet? Extremist Melema simply won't stop, and is now openly challenges President Trump by continuously provoking with singing, "Kill the Boer, the farmer," as he leads a EFF rally with these chants, completely ignoring President Trump. Let's watch.
No makubi siya no mabesetubola besishaya besibopa no mabesetubola besishaya besibopa. Who left? Who right? Yamasa. Who left? Kita. Kilame. Wata. Tawarumo. Rumo. Asicha. Where were you when I'm dead? Where were you when I'm dead? So for skitchy. Emoye. So for skitchy. Etati. Kichi. Kichima. Zibram Konto Alliance. Ongelabant. Ibagit. Siltatile. Hilagit. Shoot to kill. Kilama. Shoot to kill. Yamasa. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. I repeat, kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Man.
This is the reality to the world to see, what the white Afrikaners, and other minorities must endure on a daily basis. Melema, together with all his leaders as well as his EFF party's bank accounts, must immediately be frozen, and severe sanctions must be imposed on all of them. Together with them it must also apply to the ANC leaders, and DA, who allows these outrageous acts by not speaking out, and do absolutely nothing to protect the minorities. Alternatively, President Trump can just enforce the already signed 1994 Afrikaner Accord, to give the Afrikaners their way overdue homeland. President Trump, please intervene as the tensions will reach a boiling point with these radical left lunatics. We as minorities need you now. Once the boar is provoked, beyond the point of no return, it turns into another ball game altogether. The Italians are too scared to fight, the Russians have no choice. The Germans for the fatherland. The Boers? Those sons of bitches fight for the hell of it. American General, George Guts, and Glory Patton. Give me 20 divisions of American soldiers, and I will breach Europe. Give me 15 divisions of Englishmen, and I will advance to the borders of Berlin. Give me 2 divisions of those marvelous fighting Boers, and I will remove Germany from the face of the earth. Field Marshal Montgomery. The good will outlive the evil of the world, it always does. BRICS GESARA Nations Alliance. Putin, they are trying to choke us, and we should act in a mirror fashion. Putin tells Western corporations and governments. Russia offered best possible market conditions, but now faces economic aggression. It's time to respond. Let's swatch.
Надо их душить. Согласен полностью. Говорю без всякого стеснения.
We need to get them in a chokehold.
Надо отвечать им.
They're trying to strangle us, and we should reciprocate.
Никому не мешали.
We did not chase anyone out.
Максимально благоприятные.
We provided the best possible conditions to work in our market, and they're trying to choke us. And we should act in a mirror fashion.
Payment systems. Major win for the people of South Africa. South African High Court rules cryptocurrency not subject to capital controls. Last week the South African High Court ruled that cryptocurrencies are not subject to the country's exchange controls. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has long argued that many people use cryptocurrencies to circumvent capital controls in emerging market economies because they can be transferred peer-to-peer. It is worried this could destabilize those economies if there is a flight of capital. In the South African case, the court ruled that cryptocurrency could neither be classified as money or capital under South Africa's exchange control legislation. Given this finding, there's likely to be a surge in cryptocurrency activity in South Africa until new legislation is passed. If there's a rush to buy crypto to send money offshore, this could severely dent deposit balances. Buy while you can. Ripple posted the following. It's happening. Institutional access to crypto is accelerating. From the launch of XRP futures and ETFs on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, CME, and Nasdaq just this week, it's clear the market is maturing and exposure to crypto is expanding. Brad Garlinghouse locks in for 60 seconds and unpacks the excitement around crypto, ETFs, in a special episode of Crypto in 1 Minute. Institutional access is here, and it's a win for the entire XRP ecosystem. Nasdaq-listed XRP futures boost liquidity, visibility, and confidence across the XRP ledger. It's just the beginning. Institutional adoption is happening. Finance industry is getting involved. Once the world realizes all the possibilities we have developing and implementing the XRPL technology on other sectors, XRP will literally become the most coveted crypto in the world. Huge, after UAE, Qatar financial center to kick off real estate tokenization, starting with over $500 million worth of towers. Also in the pipeline, tokenized investment funds, and a fresh digital asset regulatory framework. Dubai picked XRP ledger for real estate tokenization, as 3,000 investors register. Let's swatch.
The first asset class that we would like to address is real estate. There's a lot of you have been around Doha in the past 2 days. There's a lot of real estate oversupply in the market, but it also solves a significant problem where there's not enough access into this asset class. If you look at a lot of the towers in West Bay or in Lusail or in any other area in Qatar, a lot of the towers are owned by 1 or 2 or maximum 3 landlords. And these are significant ticket sizes. You're talking about a minimum of $500 million upwards. So tokenizing a tower or 2, I think, would do great good for the economy and a lot more access and liquidity to the real estate market. But that's one asset class. I'd like to see as well Islamic financial products securitized through our corporate registration, bond issuances securitized, perhaps energy infrastructure in the near future. But what I'm saying is through our laboratory, I would say, which is our corporate registration, we can experiment without spreading the risk all over the rest of the economy. It'll be a contained environment. If anything goes wrong, then that would be contained within the Qatar Financial Center environment and the risk would be managed efficiently. So, a lot of assets, I think. We're going to start with real estate and then we're going to start with financial products as well.
Do you see this as a way to attract foreign investment? You mentioned especially real estate, potentially.
Well, foreign direct investment is one of our objectives. I think what we'd want to see is some local investments in these asset classes to start with. But I think it will definitely give access to a bigger pool of foreign investors tapping into our economy. And then hopefully you'd have some cross-border transactions as well. On harmonization, I think that's a great idea. If we can, I think, if there was any harmonization to happen within the digital asset space, I think The best bet is that it would happen between financial centers because we're a lot more efficient and swift in terms of amending regulations. I mean, it takes us less than 3 months to set up a financial services regulation and then get public consultation on it and then enact it. So we're pretty swift, and I think the same applies in DIFC and ADGM. So I think between those 3 financial centers, if we can come to a common arrangement where, you know, digital assets and certain financial services products can passport into each other, I think that could definitely be achieved rather than a larger passporting mechanism for the entire GCC, which could happen, but I think we're still far away from that.
The XRP train is about to leave the station. Make sure you are on it. Less than 60 days left, before the cryptocurrencies regulations are passed. Commodities. Dr. Ron Paul once told me something that most people will never understand. There are far more secret bailouts happening than the public will ever know. Hidden in credit, masked by digits. The solution? Sound money. When Fort Knox audit the cabal fiat, SWIFT system needs to crash and burn, then we can rebuild the new alliance, one XRP bridge with RLUSD, backed by gold. For that Fort Knox, that was never audited must be audited, and found empty, and the new Fort Knox, where the removed Vatican gold is kept, is the Cheyenne Mountain. Cheyenne Mountain Space Force Station is located in Colorado Springs, a short distance from North American Aerospace Defense Command and U.S. Northern Command Headquarters at Peterson Space Force Base. The complex is an underground bunker that was originally built as the NORAD Combat Operations Center during the Cold War. Today, it serves as an alternate command center for NORAD and US Northcom, the Seven Kingdoms. China is preparing a landing force and aircraft, and has also deployed multiple rocket launchers, capable of hitting any point in Taiwan, which makes it possible to move to a blockade in a few hours, the FT writes. The Chinese Foreign Ministry previously said that unification with the island cannot be stopped. Currency wars. The global financial reset isn't coming, it's already happening. History repeats. And gold is always at the center. Monetary resets aren't rare, they're part of America's financial DNA. From 1792 to 1971, every major U.S. reset has been triggered by crisis, fueled by debt, and centered around gold. Gold isn't just a relic, it's the lifeboat when fiat systems sink. It doesn't rely on trust in governments or banks, it can't be printed, and that's exactly why it keeps returning when fiat fails. Today, we face the same conditions. Exploding debt, rising inflation, falling faith in the dollar, central banks quietly hoarding gold. This isn't theory, it's a pattern. History is warning us. Loudly. Trump's Treasury Scott Bessent called it a Bretton Woods realignment. Translation, the reset is already underway. If history repeats, and it often does, gold won't just survive the coming storm, it will define what comes next. Are you watching the signs? Are you ready for what's coming? The attached article outlines every financial reset in U.S. history, and the role of gold. The global financial reset, happening now, will be no different. Fiat currency systems always fail, 100% of the time. We are seeing it happen right before our eyes. The revaluation, RV, of the Iraqi dinar, will bring about the cataclysmic reaction in the global currency reset, GCR. Bonus videos. 1. UK Parliament member praises XRP, over Bitcoin. Pre-mine coin with zero energy use, fast, cheap and scalable. The green future is here.
Understanding is the energy requirements of proof of work verification for Bitcoin blockchain is so vast that Bitcoin now consumes more power than several developed countries. And I was wondering, perhaps Daniel, first of all, I'll go across the panel, does these kind of proof of work crypto assets are they really kind of non-violent from an environmental perspective? It's sucking up so much energy to do these transactions. Is that really unprice working?
I think the industry realises the problem at hand, and I think there's a huge desire across the industry to improve the energy efficiency. There have been some initiatives taking place of late, which have helped, which are detailed, in some of the submissions that I've looked at, and more needs to be done.
say different tokens have different energy profiles. The token that Ripple uses for its product is XRP, is inherently green. All of the XRP that's in existence was created at the time of its creation. It doesn't rely on mining in order to validate the ledger. And XRP is one example. There are other tokens out there that are also inherently green, and we think that as the space evolves, you're going to see more and more projects go along those lines.
What do you mean by inherently green?
I mean that unlike the proof of work protocol, which relies on mining in order to validate ledger transactions, XRP relies on a consensus mechanisms. Computers, it uses a supermajority algorithm to validate different transactions. So no mining involved, no energy output in the same way that is associated with a proof of work protocol. Proof of work protocols, though, themselves, I recognize the issues involved, I think, and point to their use of renewable energies. The issue of energy is one that industry is paying attention to and trying to tackle.
2. The tunnel from the Vatican to Jerusalem. It is about 1,500 miles long, and crosses both land and water. A huge amount of gold was found in the Vatican, stacked 13 meters high. 650 U.S. military planes carrying this gold away to the U.S. 3. This is fabulous. It's the most honest and comprehensive explanation about what is going on with our financial institutes, the rules and laws that govern it, how it aligns with stable coins, the Treasury and the RV, and talks about a reasonable timing for the RV. During the past decade, since I've been in this movement, I haven't heard better commentary that explains the timing of when the financial infrastructure should be in place, and how it will determine when the Treasury should be ready to introduce stable coins, the RV and the Jubilee.
So Kristen is saying the one big beautiful bill seems a disappointment, not what we were all hoping for. What about no SS tax and mention no income tax for those making less than 200,000?
Yes, the thing you have to understand is we're going from where we are right now, which is this egregious taxation system, and we're trying to get to a no tax situation, which is a GESARA type society. We are moving in steps on our way there. And the reason we're doing this in steps is because you still have an asleep population where you have a great number of people that have no idea of even the conversations we're having here tonight. It's just not even in their perception at all. Okay. So we're moving this in steps in a way that even they can grasp and understand. And so I would expect the big, beautiful bill to not be a final bill, but to move us in a direction where there could be perhaps another bill that is just tax only centered and that maybe eliminates it altogether down the road. So the fact that we're even getting to this point is a huge thing. Okay. It's progress. And it's, I've said this before, we move at the pace that the asleep can swallow it. Okay. So we're going quickly, but we can't go too quickly, because when you have a population that is completely programmed, we've all been programmed to a degree. Okay. Even myself, we've all been programmed to a degree, and it's a process of deprogramming that we each go through. So I think it's amazing that we even have got to where we are here. We have an enlightened group of audience here, people all talking and asking incredibly intelligent questions because you're awake. You have achieved a certain amount of enlightenment, and you have a different view now of the world. You literally see it differently now because of what's happened to you. So we're going to get there. We can't go there alone and leave everybody behind because we are humanity. So we need everyone to come with us. And so this is why it's going to be a little bit slower. Some ask me, and I always say, I can't give timing out, right? About, when's the RV going to happen? When's the revaluation, the reset? I will say this. There is a lot of rumor that circulates on various social media channels. I don't care if it's Facebook, Telegram, could be even True Social, whatever. There's a lot of them, right? You need to be paying attention to what are the actions that are moving us where we want to go, because there's a lot of voices in each of these social media sites that are simply trolls, where the cabal has infiltrated the movement and they're seeding things in there as if they're truth. And then they get bounced around, and if it gets bounced around and shared enough times, everybody's like, well, I heard that 5 times, it must be true, even though it could be a lie altogether. Okay. So this is why it's important that we clearly look at what's going on. We can't just be stuck in Telegram groups all day and lose sight of reality, because we live in the world, right? We need to interact with it appropriately. And so I think it's important that we look at the actions that are moving us there. By their fruits, ye shall know them. So we watch the fruits. Congress, the president, each department within his administration, the agencies, what are they doing? What direction is this going? And it gives you some indication when the country might be in a state of readiness to actually move to a new financial system. What you need to understand about revaluation of currencies or bonds, gold-backed bonds, or any of these types of topics, all of these type of assets where wealth was meant to be shared with humanity for projects and other things, they were all meant to be paid out in a gold-backed currency, not a debt note. Our current system, at least Federal Reserve System, is all debt notes. They're all IOUs. We are not going to rebuild the world on debt. Okay? That's not the plan. So we need to have this new currency that is asset-backed, that is worth something, so that we have a building place, a solid foundation, not an eroded one of sand. So can we have an RV tomorrow? Well, we don't have this currency. So can we be paid? No, we can't. And these are just simple facts. And this is, I realize what I say sometimes, everybody says, well, all the gurus said this, and maybe it's different. I'm not going to talk about the gurus. I'm trying to share with you things that are factual, things that are actually taking place, so that you can be hopeful, because we have come a long ways. The last 6 months has been incredible. We made so much progress the last 6 months, more than the last 5 years. Okay. So it's really incredible what's happening. And this is why we're having conversations about this, because I want you optimistic. You should be optimistic, because for once, the good guys are winning, and we are moving in a place that is more freedom, that is more safe, and that is a solid foundation where your assets are real. You're not indebted to your eyeballs. All of that's going away. And we're going to be able to live a prosperous life. You can't have prosperity when the entire world is enslaved in debt. Debt isn't prosperity, right? So we have to flip that. When it does flip, some interesting things are going to occur. It's very likely that a lot of the systemic debt, what I mean by that is, bank debts of whether it be mortgages or car loans or other things that was where money was created out of thin air, those could be zeroed. You could have a great Jubilee. I'm not saying everyone's going to happen, but I'm saying there's already evidence that some of this has occurred on a test basis. Okay. So these are real things that are moving us in a place. So if we can have a Jubilee of debt, and we can have assets that are real, we can have a money system that's actually backed by real stuff, right? Whether it be oil, silver, gold, the land itself, it's still real. It's something that's solid. It's not an IOU, a debt. You see how different this is? It's absolutely incredible. And the fact that we're moving in this direction should make you incredibly excited. I'm excited. I've been at this for way beyond, probably close to 2 decades now. And it is more exciting now than it's ever been, because we can now see there's light at the end of the tunnel. We are moving in a direction of freedom, and not just for us, but for the whole world. and it is beautiful to behold. So be careful about some of these stories that go around. Oh, this is going to happen tomorrow. They say everything's ready. The QFS is ready to go. But we have a treasury that's still trying to digitize itself. What does this mean? It means they're putting in servers. They're putting in software systems. They're plugging things together and trying to make them work right so that we can get past paper checks, right? We're still going through this. So if the treasury isn't yet ready, don't expect there to be an RV yet. Okay, I'm trying to be real here for a moment. And this is not negative and it shouldn't be depressing to you. We are actually doing it now. The Treasury actually has an active action list. The Trump has given a presidential order. Get this done by the 30th of September. So we have an end date when that's expected to be accomplished. We know the banks are supposed to be compliant with this by July 14th. Will that be kicked down the road a little bit? I don't know. But you know what? There's more banks compliant today than ever before. So we're moving in the right direction. And so if the banks are ready and the Treasury's ready and we have regulation for stablecoin, we now have the mechanism to launch a new currency. And that means RV can happen. That means payments can be taken place. That means people can have their projects funded in an incredible way. So I hope this is helpful. I know I didn't cover, this wasn't all questions, but I wanted you to understand this because there's a lot of disinformation and it's purposely seeded by the cabal to get you depressed, to get you frustrated. Don't listen to that. It's not true. We need to stand on the basis of facts and truth. I hope that helps.
Well, we got 53 new messages, actually 54, 55 that we haven't addressed yet. I think what you just said is so eloquent and comprehensive. In a way, it gets to the essence of just about everything that people can ask. And we're right up to almost quarter of the hour.
Yeah, we're about there. So great. I hope it was helpful for you tonight. We'll do this again in June. There is some discussions here at Enid Global Services. We may begin doing some of these ourselves more often, even at times maybe when we're not with Brilliance and Commerce. That would be announced on the channel, so you could just follow that, and you would know when that's coming. We will be changing some things on the website where there'll be a place to actually sign up for newsletters and stuff. That'll be coming mid-summer-ish probably, starting a newsletter program so you can understand what we're doing and where we're going. Ultimately, what we want to do is be here for you, for humanitarians, for people doing projects. Our goal is to provide a digital infrastructure that allows a project to be launched, to manage, to keep it in compliance with the directives of humanitarian projects, and have everybody be wonderfully successful. And I've had some great conversations over the last couple of weeks with some of our team on that. The technology that's coming in is absolutely incredible. It is years ahead of what's available right now. It does take us some time to build some of this out, but we're really trying to build a vehicle that makes it easier for each of you to get going, to get moving forward. And there's a mechanism there as a way to give back in the process. And so I think we'll reveal some details about that a little bit later as we have we have a structure outlined, but we're not ready to reveal that, because if we did, we would be completely bombarded. And we just want to have some of this stuff in place so that you're not coming at us with expectations and we're not able to deliver. I hope that makes sense. So give us a little time. We're working at it, and we're going in the right direction with this. The goal is that we can have some things in place so that by the time the RV does occur, and I still don't know timing because there's some things that would need to be done, as I said, as we watch these events happen, we know we're getting closer. We're marching to a delivery date when all of this can occur. Okay. And so we're doing some things right now where we can start building a foundation and being ready so that there's not an extensive amount of time after RV waiting for infrastructure to be built. So we're trying to get a head start on it. And we're grateful for those that are helping in various capacities. Tonson, you've been helpful to help us grow monies and some things like that, that move us in that direction a little bit sooner, which is fantastic. We use the tools that we have in front of us right now, and knowing GESARA brings even greater tools in the future. So it's going to be fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for being with us tonight. I hope this is helpful. It's informative for you. I do spend a lot of time working on this because I want to share with you some truth, some goodness, some positive uplift about where we're going. I hope that I'm a voice of reason in the midst of chaos. That's the goal. That's what we try to be for each of you. And you can always send an email to us through the website, enochgs.com, if you've got a question. And we'll try to get back to you as soon as we're able to. So hope that helps. Thank you, everyone.
There is a deluge, an avalanche of thanks in the texts, Will. They just go on and on and on. So everyone, you are so kind. Thank you so much. I just feel bad that we can't get to everyone in the time allotted, but you're a very kind audience and really appreciate it. There's a lot of gratitude pouring out, Will.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for that. I receive of your thanks, and I'm grateful for it, and I appreciate that. We do feel your love and support, and I hope that you feel ours as well, because we sincerely are trying to help the world bring in the golden age of love, prosperity, and more importantly, let's bring heaven on earth. We can do it together.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Go have a nice evening. The rest of it, Will. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Excellent. Good night, everybody. See you next time.
4. Brad Garlinghouse locks in for 60 seconds and unpacks the excitement around crypto ETFs in a special episode of Crypto in 1 Minute.
I'm definitely hurt, but also excited that I was overlooked for years before being on here, but now here I am. Hi, I'm Brad Garlinghouse. This is Crypto in 1 Minute. 1 minute on why are people excited about crypto ETFs. I think there's two main factors going on here. One is, for the longest time, institutional investors primarily trading on Wall Street, really haven't been able to access crypto directly. Their options were to either self-custody, onboard with an exchange, and some people don't like centralized exchanges for a whole host of reasons. So this was really the first time you had institutions be able to go on Wall Street and trade directly in crypto. This is an unlock for a couple reasons. For capital that couldn't come in, whether it's an endowment, whether it's a pension fund, even mutual funds that didn't or couldn't access crypto, now they can. The second thing is, it really is institutionalizing the entire industry of crypto. I think it should be no surprise that the Bitcoin ETF was the fastest ETF ever to get to $1 billion in assets. I think it passed 10 billion in assets faster than anyone as well. And today I think we'll eventually close in on the gold ETF, and that's in 1 minute.
Five. This is exactly what happened with South Africa, when the U.S. Congress turned their backs on SA in 1994, and allowed the kingmakers CIA to overthrow this first world country, South Africa. It's payback time.
It all started on August 19th, 1953. The day America learned it could topple a government from behind a desk. The day the CIA became kingmakers, and democracy became a lever to be pulled or pushed according to the interests of empire. Tehran. The morning sun bled through the smog-choked streets. People gathered at markets, children played by crumbling fountains. Life moved, unaware that its course was already written, not in Farsi but in English. At the center of it all was Mohammad Mossadegh, a democratically elected prime minister, a man who defied the blueprint. He nationalized Iran's oil fields, took back control from British Petroleum, The wealth that had been siphoned out for decades, he returned to his people. And for that, he was marked, targeted by men in suits thousands of miles away. They called it Operation Ajax. It was the first time the CIA had overthrown a foreign government. Not with tanks, not with bombs, but with bribes, whispers, and ink on paper. They paid mobs to riot. They planted stories in newspaper. They turned the streets of Tehran into a stage, and chaos became the main act. August 19th was the grand finale. Shah supporters, armed and emboldened, stormed the capital. Buildings burned, streets choked with smoke and broken glass. Mossadegh's government collapsed. He was dragged from his office, convicted of treason in his own land, not because he was corrupt, not because he was cruel, but because he dared to put his country first. The Shah returned, not as a leader, but as a puppet, his strings pulled from Washington and London. For 25 more years, he ruled with an iron grip, one held steady by American dollars and British interests. It was the first time the CIA realized it could unmake a nation without a single soldier stepping foot on its soil. But it wouldn't be the last. Chile, Guatemala, Congo, they'll tell you it's about democracy, but it's always been about power. The real question is, how much longer can that power hold before the tables turn?
That sums up your Tuesday news. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.